recording.
It's running?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, so my piece still has a lot of choreography left to kind of do. So I'm right now kind of experimenting with sort of movements I want to play with and sort of things that inform those movements. So I know that right now I would like to sort of have this piece kind of deal movement-wise with sort of the balance between being in control and out of control, and sort of balancing that with sort of being oppressed and being released. So this idea of like when do you want, when are the kind of structures of movement and the structures that you're living in oppressing you, and when are they actually giving you something that keeps you in control and keeps you safe? And so right now what I'm kind of playing with is sort of this idea to begin the piece, sitting in a chair, and having this sort of maybe moment of stillness, and then kind of like a tapping of the foot. I don't know if it picks it up from there. Sort of tapping of the foot, kind of nervous tapping, and then a stop. And I'm gonna watch some videos of like Chaplin and Mr. Noodle from Elmo's World, and kind of have this sort of choreographed piece about kind of stopping this nervous tapping and having that nervousness kind of go up in the other parts of the body. Maybe it goes up in the shoulder and I stop the shoulder, goes up in the head, I stop the head, both feet are going, I stop both of those, and sort of this like kind of hopefully kind of somewhat comedic moment of like kind of stopping and having it build until, you know, everything's kind of shaking, and then you get up. And where I would kind of like it to go, and this is a very abstract concept and I'm still trying to kind of work through it, is sort of go into a daydream, this idea of this student being somewhere that they don't want to be, or a person being somewhere that they don't want to be, a meeting, a classroom, a lecture, a something, and going into a daydream. And while I'm not much of like a dancer, I kind of like the idea of like the physical theater, sort of like you create almost like a thought bubble or something. So this kind of twitchiness, this dancing, this, you know, and then it comes into this thought bubble where this person can kind of go into and sort of navigate through that space. And I think in this sort of world, this would be sort of the moment of like safety and freedom. Sort of this idea that the structures are sort of limiting, and so movements are very free. I know myself as a performer, I'm very into kind of fluid, letting your arms kind of flail around, and so kind of letting sort of all that sort of navigate through the space. And I still have yet to kind of specify what these movements are, but kind of having movement come up from here while still kind of being rooted kind of to the ground. And then at some point, kind of going into the kind of contrast of that, when are structures okay? When do people need something to hold them back? I know one of the styles of dance that I do like is like party dancing, like raves. And so if there's a song, or maybe not a song, but to just kind of like let it kind of build up into this like wild and crazy flailing, kicking, and, you know, just kind of like letting it go everywhere. And having that, seeing how far I can take that. And I don't want it to be unsafe, so I'm going to have to kind of carefully monitor my movement for this, but kind of having it all of a sudden become something where I need to come back from it, where it's no longer the structures of the world are holding me back. It's sometimes you need a little bit of focus and clarity in order to properly articulate yourself. And I'm still kind of working through that right now. But kind of letting that flailing kind of have a moment of stillness that's a moment of peace rather than a moment of oppression. Yeah, so I guess that's sort of my arc right now, where I am.